Sinclair Classes Toronto. I speak against the motion. I'd just like to say I came into the CRC through a church plant, and two things really mattered a lot to me at the time. First of all, our world belongs to God, the contemporary testimony, and second, the banner. The banner is how I learned about the Christian Reformed Church, and it functioned well as a kitchen table, and I think it still does. I would hate to lose that. And so as I think about our world belongs to God, I think that it's all about engaging with the world and not being afraid to. And the banner should continue to do that. In this synod, we have sometimes talked about confessional limits, quite a bit actually, and often that has seemed good and right, but in this case, it feels repressive. Thank you.
Jonathan Sprunk, Shire, and Scott Closter.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yep.
I grew up in the 60s and 70s. And in the 60s and 70s, we paid a lot of attention to the generation gap. There was the voice of the man, and the younger generation stood against the institution and the man. And an entire generation was mobilized to speak truth to power. And this was the cause. And the church rallied to the cause. The two most influential editions of the banner, can anybody guess what they were? The first one was already mentioned, 1980. Andy Kivenhoven came in and he said, what? What is it time to do? That's right. The other most influential edition of the banner, especially if you check, sorry Nate, by AI, do you know the other probably the most influential edition of the banner was written in 1970 and was called The Banner. One of the things, now I'm part of, I can say, hey boomer, and I got to do it in the mirror, okay? I look at myself. There's another generation gap. The difficulty that old folks like me have is that when I hear generation gap, I think one thing. We as a committee have been listening very carefully to diverse voices, to people outside of power. All of those things that the banana and the burning of the wooden shoes said. And when we listen to the younger generation, we hear kitchen table. I'm dining in a cafeteria. And I don't know if I'll agree with what my elders think. But I've had a lot of elders that say, that's a good question. Tell me what you think. And a lot of people in the younger generation are saying, can my parents please just tell us what they think? I might accept it or I might reject it, but just let me know. And so I know that what we've done here will be controversial, particularly with a lot of people like me. But I would ask people like me who were frustrated with the man and the generations ahead of them that we didn't feel we were listened to maybe pause and imagine that subsequent generations have a voice too. And what they ask for, well, we should listen. So that's where this comes from. And I understand that a lot of people my age hear this in a certain way. And I think we should listen to the younger generations.